Well, hello and welcome back to Read Becca. It's time once again for a TBR. This is the wonderful time of the month where we look ahead to our aspirations and hopes for reading in the next month. And I keep saying over and over that I want to get away from library reading and pick things up from my own shelves, and not doing that. And so I have an entire stack here of things from the library and nothing from my own shelves. But I do have hope for my own shelves. I'm sure I will read more than what I've got selected out in specific books. And I have reasons for picking from the library as well. So let's start with the generality that I do think is gonna hit for my own shelves, and that is the Readathon Garb August. This is hosted by Criminali and his veritable band of trashy co-conspirators that focuses on reading things that are kind of viewed as entertainment, pulpy, disposable, very trashy. Anything that sort of fits that in your own view, I think is appropriate. I have a lot of mass market paperbacks that are in old, trashy sci-fi and fantasy. So I have lots to choose from my own shelves, and I do definitely want to read at least one book of those. So I don't know what that is right now, but that's in my plans, generally. So that is my own shelves. Then let's go to the other one. And the reason that I picked up so many things from my library is that it's Women in Translation Month. This is something I always love. I really enjoy translated work, just in general. And so I'm always turning to that, but translated work is mainly published by independent presses. So it's a little pricey to try and just pick up a whole bunch of things. I don't tend to have a lot on my shelves until I've read it and found favorites that I want to have on my shelves for rereading. So hopefully we will find some of those in this stack that I've got, but thanks to my library, I am able to participate very heavily in Women in Translation Month. So this is a readathon that's hosted by Katja from Page Turners with Katja, Roz from Scallydandling About the Books, and Angelia from Read and Reread this year. It has changed hands over the years, but it's one I'm always excited to participate in because it has brought me so many interesting reads. And I think we will have at least one or two in my stack, hopefully. So I tend to jive with Japanese literature a lot, so I do have quite a bit of that, but I've got a good smattering. Let's start with Hollow Inside by Asako Otani and translated by Ginny Tapley Takamori. I saw this on the shelf and had to pick it up, but I think I had seen this actually talked about possibly by Katja previously. And it's a short one. It's a fairly recent release as well. And this one I think has a lot of elements that I'm going to love because we're kind of following a woman who doesn't have any drive in life. She doesn't want to pursue success in her career. She's not striving to improve there and not interested in romance. So she doesn't really fit the social pressures. And she and another woman who seem to feel the same way come to live together. And this is about them kind of having that mundane existence where they aren't driven by social norms. So I think this is going to have a lot of vibes like Convenience Store Woman, maybe, or Emi Yagi's Diary of a Void, which perfectly takes me to my next book that I picked up. And that is Emi Yagi's new book. This is When the Museum is Closed, and this is translated by Yuki Teijima. And this one, I've heard more mixed things than Diary of a Void, certainly, so I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I do think I'm going to at least enjoy it. We're following a character, Rika, who gets a job working overnights at a museum because she knows Latin. And her job is to converse in Latin with the statue of Venus who comes alive at night. And that just sounds very, very funny, quirky, and interesting. So another one I'm very curious to try out. This is returning to an author I have loved before, which is also a priority for me this year to kind of read more from authors I know I already enjoy. So that's a good one to have on my list. The next one I picked up mainly because of the title and a blurb, and that's Terminal Boredom by Izumi Suzuki. And this has a number of translators because it is a collection of short stories. So the stories translators are Polly Barton, Sam Bett, David Boyd, Daniel Joseph, Aiko Masubuchi, and Helen O'Horan. And I picked this up because of a blurb from Catherine Lacey, also an author I really enjoy. The work and messages of Ursula K. Le Guin, the author's longer-lived contemporary, come to mind. Both Suzuki and Le Guin knew that gender roles are a matter of costume or control, affect or affliction. The terms we use to define humanity are often inhumane. So that sounds like something I'm really going to enjoy. I've not heard a lot of people talking about this one, but this is a recent translation of stories that were written much earlier. So I believe in the 80s primarily, but this is an author who is no longer living, who took her own life and contemplated a lot of the struggles and societal pressures, much like my previous books on this list. I think it's going to have a lot of commentary about fitting in. And so I think this is going to really hit the spot for me, I am hoping. The next one is a Korean novel, and this is Capitalists Must Starve by Park Sol-yeon and translated by Anton Her. And this is really, really interesting because it is a historical novel in the 1930s, yet it's very feminist. It's about a woman working in a factory, pursuing a labor strike and trying to rise up against oppressive corporatism, more or less. It's also set in the backdrop of Korea while it was colonized by Japan. It was under sort of imperial rule. And that's not a time I really know anything about at all. So I'm very curious to get into this and see what that looks like from kind of a modern lens. I also know very good things about Anton Her from here on BookTube, who both is a very skilled and popular translator and has a sci-fi novel out now as an author that I really, really want to check out. So I think this is going to be interesting. I don't think this has anything speculative. I think this is just mainly anti-corp type of novel in historical fiction. The next one is Antiquity by Hannah Johansson and translated from Swedish by Kira Josefsson. And this one I think is going to be a little dark and brooding and possibly very uncomfortable, challenging, definitely. This is about a woman who feels some control and obsession about a woman she's dating and gets involved with her teenage daughter. I don't think this is in any way glorifying that whatsoever. It's supposed to be kind of dark. And this was compared to like a sapphic Lolita. So that's why I think it's going to be very uncomfortable to read, but I think worth reading. This is a pretty popular work. So I also noticed this and the next one have blurbs from Catherine Lacey as well, just like Terminal Boredom. When I was going through these, I just randomly looked and realized she's blurbed on all of these. So she must read a lot of translated fiction. The next one I have is a short story collection, Evil Flowers by Gunhild Øyhaug, translated by Kari Dickerson from Norwegian. And this one, the vibe I have gotten from this one is like surreal, very strange. I think this might be weirdness in the vein of Jeff Vandermeer, which is very appealing to me. So I'm very hopeful for this one, but I haven't really seen anybody talking about it. And so I could be finding a new favorite here, or nobody's been talking about it because it's a dud. So we will see. And then lastly, we have one that it is labeled as fiction, but I think it's pretty non-fictional. It's very like self-inspired at very least. And that is On the Other Side is March by Solrun Michelson and translated from the Faroese by Marita Thomason. And I love the little island scene there. It's like a drawing, it looks like. And this is one I picked up because it talks about being from the first woman Faroese writer to ever make it into English. Very exciting. And the fact that this is about caretaking an invisible labor of motherhood, the fact that there's a strong lyrical musical element and oral storytelling element to this is really, really interesting because this is about the end of life, aging, as this woman is facing having adult children who have sort of had their care taken from her and gone away, and now she's caretaking for her own aging mother. And this string of women, more or less, one upon the next, who are responsible for caretaking in this community, and it sounds like in this very remote setting. So sounds really interesting and very beautifully written, potentially. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So that is my over-ambitious pile from entirely the library. I think I may have overdone it, but that's okay because these are all sort of shorties. Very exciting. Maybe some stuff to carry over into Shorty September, perhaps, if I need to. But I'm really excited about all of them. I mean, I just love translated work, so I really, really can't wait to dive into Women in Translation Month because it is probably my favorite month of the year. So let me know if you're reading any of these. We can buddy read, or let me know what you are reading for Women in Translation Month so that maybe I can keep my eyes out for it, because I probably will have more room to read things. And if I hear about some really, really great books, I may pick up some more from my library, because the siren song of Women in Translation at my library is a little too strong for me. So with that, that is my TBR. And happy Women in Translation to all. Thank you so very much for watching.